What's up, guys? This is Mike from Spiritus Systems. Just going to do a kit shakedown. I was in the Marines prior to this. I was an infantryman for a period of time. I was a designated marksman. I had the privilege to go over to the Direct Action Resource Center to take ASIC, which is their Advanced Sniper Integration course. I took everything here, and I'm just going to kind of go over some of the things. One of the things that you're seeing first off, I'm sure, is a 5.56 gas gun, kind of unique. Most guys, when they think of sniper courses or law enforcement snipers, they're going to be thinking of like a 6.5 gas gun, a large frame, or sorry, a 6.5 gas gun, a 6.5 bolt gun, right? Something larger frame than 5.56. I went ahead and took this because I could, and it served me surprisingly well for what I ended up doing there. So this is a Centurion Arms Mark 12 upper receiver on a Colt lower receiver. It's an 18-inch stainless steel barrel. It has like the old school mounting hardware. The suppressor I used was a Otter Creek OCM6. It's their new suppressor. I don't think it's out yet. This whole setup got over 750 rounds in a matter of 5 days. Everything performed well. So just some choices that I made for setting this gun up to be a little less of a DMR and more of a like sniper light, right? Picatinny, just in case you need to mount things that need to hold zero. Ultimately, I didn't end up doing that. The forend of this gun, its primary function for me is to house the bipod as well as a clip-on night vision device. A clip-on night vision device does turn a longer range gun into something pretty scary. With that being said, a lot of my decision making revolved around that. So I get a lot of questions about why the laser is on a diving board. I actually don't like doing that generally. However, there were multiple clip-on night vision devices that I could have taken with me or could have used. And if you've been around, you know that you can't put a laser anywhere on your gun, on your rail rather, that will satisfy the mounting solutions for all different clip-ons, right? If you have a PVS 27, that's going to require a certain placement, right? A PVS 30, a CNVD, all of that requires something different. So the only thing to make this clip-on agnostic is to move it to a diving board, right? So yeah, there's height over bore. This ultimately isn't probably getting shot beyond 200 with the actual laser. And what it's more being used for is the illuminator only function. So the optic setup, this is a Nightforce ATACR 4-16 with a mil-XT reticle. It has a Badger ordnance mount. The caps, everything is very picky because I'm picky. I have a 100 Concepts cap in the front here, really for use of like a beer koozie along with a night vision device, right? So I will literally just kind of rip it to the side. It has to go to the side because it can't go above and it can't go this direction. So you'll see that's going to be a common thing, is a lot of compromises based on availability. The rear cap, this is a little bit new to me. This is a lens polarizer. So it has a dial here, and that will allow you to look through glare on glass, right? Ultimately, when I'm shooting, it's going to get flipped up, just because I want the better light transmission, but this is a cool available option to have. The scope typically sits between 8 and 10 power. That's just so that I can mag up and down depending on where my target is and how hard it is to find it. So let's see, over on this side, I have an Aimpoint T1. It is on an Arasaka 193 mount, and I have it at 35 degrees. It actually gets slightly obstructed by my cap here, but in order to suck it closer to the gun, I deem that a worthy loss. I can still shoot with it, and it's still fine, right? You should be target focused anyway, ultimately. So another kind of odd thing on here, I have a lens wipe that I've attached to the gun with just some shot cord. There's some other shot cord here, which is really for cable routing, for attaching any smaller scrim I want to throw on there. I will literally just detach this, clean my lenses, and then store it. I actually didn't like the idea of that until I was outdoors a lot in the winter, and your body heat alone will cause your lenses to fog up, and it's pretty frustrating. So actually another thing on this side of the gun. This is just a regular Picatinny QD here. I have this Surefire mount, or Surefire light rather. It's on a swivel mount. I don't remember the name of it, but you guys probably know what it is. It's pretty anemic and I get a lot of glare off of the can, but white light is a lower priority for this gun since I should be isolating more than I should be in the house, but I just want that to be an available option. I have one of our older Sierra Tac slings here, and you know, I'll just store it using this Ranger band. There's a couple of Ranger bands here. The other Ranger band is securing my the pressure pad for my PEC. I will actually relocate this to the other side of the gun for use with clip-on. So I literally just have Velcro here. I'll peel it off, put it through, and attach here. So when you have a clip-on, and I have this on the illuminator setting, I can just I can activate it with my index finger, my shooting finger, take the shot, turn it off, right? So that is part of my prep for night in that way. Let's see. Over here, you'll see that I have the mount backwards. Really, that's, again, availability. It's availability of space in this case. The Atlas Bipod is something somewhat new to me. It came in handy a lot because I was able to throw the legs rearward for certain very odd shots on very odd surfaces that, you know, in order to get multiple points of contact with that surface and the gun, that was necessary. And that's a pretty somewhat exclusive feature of the Atlas that was very welcomed. On the other side here, I have this, it's just a Geissele Maritime bolt catch with a ready catch. One of my close friends showed me this product. It will allow you to clear your gun or clear malfunctions a little bit better by using the magazine release rather than kind of having to fish for the paddle. So PRI gas buster, H3 buffer, and the Magpul, the newer stock. This is a little bit smaller than some of the larger offerings that are more PRS oriented. Again, this is like sniper light in denial. I did want this to be more of a DMR and I wanted to shave as much weight as I could. Ultimately, I did accomplish that, which is nice. HRF magwell comes in handy for reloading in odd positions or on a tripod. Definitely a quality of life improvement. That's a newer addition as well. I think really the only other talking point on this gun, I actually just recently swapped out the QD. Our QDs are good. They're small and they're hard to accidentally actuate. I actually chose one that has a very large one because the intent is for me to remove it in order to use my sling in some very odd shooting positions that I recently learned. So effectively, using your sling to give you additional support on odd objects. So that wraps up the gun. We're going to move on to the plate carrier now. This is a little bit of a weird setup as well. I've used this for some years at this point, minus the 120 front bag, which is a little bit newer. So LV 120 front bag, and then a Cry Precision AVS 1000 rear bag. I think I kind of copied this setup from Adam, AT, as well as Rich Mason from Darcy. I've thrown on our reactive cummerbund as well as the Axle Advanced micro harness onto it, and I'm just using the Cry Precision pads. This gives me essentially an integrated pack for storing odd items, and maybe it's just like a weird anxiety, like infantryman's anxiety. I don't know what I need to store, but I want to be able to store it, and this kind of answers that. Before we talk about the contents of that, we'll talk about just the regular fighting load. So this stood out as far as like compared to the others, like the actual snipers, right? A lot of them had sleeker setups. I knew that this was a counter-terror course, and there are just some things that I won't leave home without if I know it's counter-terror, right? So the things that changed were just the items held rather than the pouches or anything like that. I didn't change a lot for my assaulter setup. I just changed the contents. So these mags are just 30 round mags of 77 grain, a 20 round mag of 77 grain, and then the starter mag is going to be another 20 rounder. Generally, I would say that unless you're working in the prone, once you finish a 20 round mag, it's probably time to bust out the 30s. I think the 20s are a little niche, and I probably wouldn't carry as many of them moving forward. In the front of this Mark V, this is the temp 120. I have my arm board. This is just for storage, so I can grab this. This might be filled with other items as I find them or need them. And then in this one, it's just empty with a pangolin on top. In each flank, I have just a Surefire handheld light in this pouch. And then in the other pouch, it's just going to be a Leatherman multi-tool, just a Wave Plus. Below that, I have a sack pouch. This is full of mostly batteries. I have an extra tourniquet in here, but I have a lot of our inserts with various batteries. I always end up giving out more batteries than I use, and having them accessible is nice. These might be relocated if I need something to access that is more important. Rearward of that, I actually have another pouch that we'll probably have a hard time seeing. So I'll show you guys after. I have a sword dump pouch that houses a pry bar. So we'll show that a little bit later. So going to my strong side, I have one of our upcoming pouches here. The pouch is housing just a door stop. It's good to be able to keep doorways open, especially if they're doors that automatically lock. This EMP is empty. It could be a magazine, right? It's just kind of a general purpose pouch for me that can also house a magazine if need be. This is something I get a lot of questions about. So I actually rigged this up shortly before the course itself, and I've been really happy with it. So this is a Grimlock, and obviously we have just a large carabiner here. But the part that's a little bit unique, I kind of copied this from one of our personnel here who uses this for breaching equipment, but I've tied a North American Rescue scissor leash to the inside of this LV-120 admin area so that when I take off this, which is easier when you're not standing where I'm standing, I have a leash to hold it. So if you're standing on a platform and there are people below you, or if you're going to get up really quickly and you think you might yard sale your stuff, you won't, right? It's going to retain it, and that has been pretty nice. This is an Armageddon gear pint-sized game changer with their lightest fill. I think it's called Specs Light or something to that effect. And then I have a, what is this? The Extract R from Black Hills Designs in there. That's just to rip things out of my gun that I don't want in my gun, essentially. So moving over to my support side, I have a Motorola and a Spud. Works great for that. I have a PTT that I've put in this kind of niche location using a PTT mount from Disco 3.2. It's actually mounted to the reactive cummerbund on the inside, and it's kind of propped with my side plate. That's another thing too. I complained about side plates a lot when I had to wear them, and now that I don't have to wear them, I don't ever not wear them. I always wear side plates. So these are 3110s. They're paired with the 3810s. And then moving past that, we have just a GP medium. It has our padded insert in there for night vision. Night vision stored in here during the daytime. In this pouch, I just have something for stripper clips. If you know, you know. Just a cravat in there, and that's really it, right? Moving to the rear part right here. So we have the AVS 1000. This kind of shifts here and there. Just according to what I need to carry, and that's kind of that flexibility piece. I've made a drag handle. Rich from Darcy showed me how to do this. It takes some finessing to figure out how to put it in the AVS 1000, but it can be done. In the main compartment itself, I have a bladder that right now is empty, but it can be full if I deem it necessary. You can see where the plate is stored. For those of you who don't know, the AVS 1000 can also hold a plate. So this main compartment also came in handy. I mean, besides shoving warming layers or anything like that in there, which is kind of its intended purpose, a clip-on night vision device did not fit in any of the other pouches, but it fit in the main. So that's where I ran around with it, because spoiler alert, I didn't run around with a pack. I just ran around with this, which had its pros and cons too. So zipping that up, this I think is actually for breaching things. There's nothing in there right now. This is a deeper pocket. In here, I have some 5.50. This is getting to like my anxious infantryman stuff. I keep a little survival kit that I've had for I don't know how many years in a lock sack, I think it is. survival blanket, and then a cane of provisions water decon kit. And then actually one of the more important things is Cliff Blocks energy chews. I keep these in my kit for energy and for some electrolytes. We do have a product coming out that it's a turtle pack essentially. I don't know what the name is going to be. We didn't have any, otherwise I probably would have brought that, frankly. But bottom pouch here, I'm not going to really rip this out. It's a field stripped MRE with oral rehydration salt. All the Army dudes seem to know that. We didn't get issued that in the Marines, but the Army dudes hate it, but it seems pretty necessary. I have some Petzl gloves that I've woven through a weird, shock cord contraption I've made, and then one of our multi-platform radio chassis, just in case I get, an MPU-5 or something to that effect. All right, so that wraps up the plate carrier. We'll just move on to the helmet since it's right here. So this is an Opscore Fast SF. I've replaced the mount with one from Unity Tactical. It's very light and it doesn't have as much wobble. Wilcox G24, and then just some DT NVSs. I have, let's see if I can do this from over here. I have the 100 Concepts caps that nobody can buy anymore. I retain my night vision with just some dummy cord that I have attached with a tiny carabiner. I keep it kind of hard mounted. I learned this from Rich Mason at Darcy. If your night vision falls, it'll not get face huggered into your eyes, which is pretty cool. It'll just dangle, right? So moving on, I have the 3M mounts and Peltors. I think this is made by Raptor Tactical, just to store the down lead. Our max mount kit with the 100 Concepts cap, IR flag in a weird camo, and then I'm just going to pull this down actually. So I keep a gas mask extender from Opscore, and I just kind of keep it on this Shaw Concepts brain pouch. That way I don't lose it. It's just kind of permanent fixture until it's needed. I have an SNS strobe here that I have dummy corded in a pretty weird way, but it works for me. And then in the brain pouch that I have here, I just have one of our battery inserts that has a few CR123s. Again, I just always want to have what is required to run my night vision on the helmet in case I don't have any of this for whatever reason. If I leave the house to a night match or something and I don't have it. I just have some scrim from 100 Concepts in here as well. So again, just kind of a complete ecosystem kind of contained in the helmet itself. Nothing really notable other than that. So we'll just move on from here. So I don't like wearing gun belts really. They have their place, but my back doesn't really like them anymore. This is a Cry Precision LRB, I think it is. No Cobra buckles or anything fancy. So this will be my belt that I route things through my belt loops on. So one of those things being a pistol. So Safariland setup here with a nub mod. This pistol is a Glock 47 with a Radian Ramjet, the Vampire light from Surefire, Acro, and then an ESC Magwell and a Glock performance trigger. There's not much else to really say about it. It's not a pistol review. It's a good pistol. On my belt, I'll typically also just wear this around my waist. It's one of our big fannies. This is where I keep my medical. I'll keep my medical tethered. I have like a whole bunch of these. These are worth buying. You'll see another one very shortly. More importantly, not really more importantly, but more used is a Boo Boo kit. I think this is actually an old issued one. Not much else to say about it. I don't mind wearing a fanny pack and a belt. There's obviously just a tourniquet at the bottom. So this will probably be a little bit more dense. So this is the Justa pouch that I use for like pretty much in conjunction with the rifle that I just showed you guys, right? These two are kind of slaved together. So I will carry obviously a pistol, rifle. This is a 20 rounder in this case. Could be a 30 rounder, doesn't really matter. I carried a 20 rounder for this course. The insides of this never really change. So the first notable item is this SIG rangefinder. I have it attached by one of those little spirally lanyards that I just showed you guys. This is the 8K. So I think this is like the top end of their monocular laser rangefinders. Other than that, I actually carry extra batteries for it. The extra batteries are in one of our battery inserts or 1, 2, 3 inserts that I've cut down to fit. This is probably weird for some people. I keep measuring tape in here, right? This will make more sense when I show you guys my notebook for, not necessarily a notebook, but this is a solar powered calculator that has all of my dope and all of the information somebody needs to range something. So it has like the range estimation formula, and this whole pouch, really more importantly, just this is kind of like equipment that should be issued with that rifle. So like if I died and someone grabbed my rifle, they should probably grab this and they should know to grab this. I've had this for literally years. It's solar powered, so I don't have to change out the batteries. And it's funny, this is like something that a lot of infantry dudes really liked. I picked this up from one of our snipers in my old unit. And so in order to use the range estimation formula when you go to a new place, you may need to take measurements of some common items if you've gone to a different country, essentially. So Nightforce tool, I keep in there as well. Lens pen, Sharpie, and that about wraps it up for the inside of the JSTA. These items always live in there pretty much no matter what. The only reason that one of them is outside of the pouch is because it's being used, and then it goes right back inside. iPro, I'll typically carry 2 complete glasses rather than just changing out lenses. These are made by FastMetal. These have, I don't know the exact name of the lens in here, but they're awesome. They will make things more vibrant, but still a little bit darker. So these are actually the only ones that I've enjoyed shooting through, like, I guess like a more like a higher powered scope. A lot of guys wear no iPro, but if iPro's necessary because there's breaching going on pretty close by, and you have to wear iPro, these were awesome. So the contrast to that is obviously going to be good Clear Pro. I think these are like the old Marine issued ones that I still have. I carry a backup pair or a backup lens that's just DARC Pro just in case. And you know, these will typically live in the case, either in the AVS or in the pack that I'll show you guys in a second. But that about wraps it up for iPro. Gloves. So for gloves, I don't like wearing gloves really. For shooting accurately to distance, I like gloves even less, but for climbing things and for the, you know, contacting the earth, they're kind of necessary. These are just SKD pig gloves. You guys have seen them before. They're thin. They'll probably not last forever, but they'll get you to where you need to go fast, right? And then moving on, actually to one of the most important components of all of this is the tripod. I did not think that I would be shooting off of a tripod as much as I did, and I almost lived off of this tripod. So this is a Leofoto tripod. It's not expensive. Actually, this is the LS324C. I probably wouldn't buy this exact tripod again because there is one that is nominally more expensive, but is probably a little bit better out of the box for shooting off of. I can't remember the designation of it. This one's really light. I traded out the head for an Arasaka, one of the Arasaka components for their rail slider system, but I opted after a while to use this really right stuff head. This head will allow for the use of both Picatinny and Arca, which comes in handy for people that don't want to add weight to their guns, right? So I have a Picatinny rail, I can just use this head, or if I have an accessory for it that uses Arca, like this this table from Sun and Shadow, I can just attach it even though it's Arca. So this is agnostic to either platform, and it comes in handy. The tripod has been painted a lot, not to a point where I can't use it. You don't want to coat paint too thick on the legs. All of the legs have shock cord on them, so I can attach veg if need be. And then on the bottom, this is not fancy at all, but I have just some shock cord that I've literally just taped with 100-mile-per-hour tape to retain it. And that's just to keep the legs closed if I'm running. So I thought that I, for one, wouldn't be using this very much, and two, that I'd use it in conjunction with a pack. But what I ended up doing more so was carrying it on my body with the kit that I've shown you guys. So I've had this on here for a while. This is actually an older Sierra Tac sling. It's unpadded. So I have it staged so I can just rip it and then sling it over my body. When you have like a rifle slung over your body and a sling, you can kind of get a little choked out, but nothing nothing's perfect. You know, you're just going to have to get choked out a little bit. So another thing that I have on here is just something indexed off of the bottom in case I want to weigh the tripod down. So this pack, I didn't end up using very much at all. So I thought that I would, and a lot of the other snipers that didn't have as much on their bodies, they were kind of living out of packs, but they also had, you know, different philosophies and different guns altogether. So this is absolutely something that should live with this setup and be implemented if needed. There's a lot in here that is very specific to like building hides or kind of maintaining a longer mission than what we were doing in this training environment. One of the things that actually came in handy more than most everything else in the pack was this REI field chair that I have, and I painted it ages ago. So it's literally, it's not super comfortable, and it gets pretty uncomfortable, but if you need to be in a seated position, this thing's pretty featherweight and it came in handy a lot. So the other items in this pack, like I'm just gonna yard sale everything. You guys can take a look. This is from Natural Gear. This is just a leaf top. I mean, I had some tubular nylon, cleaning kit. This is actually something that we never released. It's just a tarp essentially. And stuff for concealment. On the outside of the pack, I had, you know, this pouch is a GP small, where I had one of our padded inserts, which is generally too small for this pouch, but I knew what I was storing in here is pretty small. It's a handheld thermal. And then the other part of my laser rangefinder is this kind of not Kestrel from SIG. And then just some Gorilla Tape that I have in here. So I think one of the other huge pros of having a pack that I saw a lot of the guys using as well was tripod storage. So I'll have to show you guys this a little better. I have cut out a section of PVC, and I've I've made it smooth so it's not jagged. And I've shoved it into the hydration pouch of this Mystery Ranch 3-day assault pack. And I've used a Grimlock as well as just some regular 1-inch ITW buckles to create like a harness for my tripod. So this is a pretty comfortable way of carrying it. It's not completely steady, and something that is made to do that job is probably going to work a little bit better. But this got me by for the few times that I actually use this pack, right? The only other items worth mentioning, like pruning shears that I didn't really need for this course, a whole bunch of lashing equipment, literally just hair bands and rubber bands and everything, stuff to ride on, dope book, actually something that was used a lot is 3x5 note cards for when my velocity just randomly changed because of the atmospherics and I had to redo my dope, and then just more writing. So that, for the most part, wraps it up. Like I said, the pack wasn't used as heavily, but it's not something that should be ignored at all. It really just depends. You can kind of game the game when you're in a training environment, but having different stages of preparedness for different levels of threat is absolutely worth looking into. Other than that, if you guys have any questions, you can always shoot us an email. Make sure you like and subscribe and all of that other good stuff. And that wraps it up.